Hello, and welcome back to the RD CX in Action workshop series. My name is Val Jensen, and I will be guiding today's presentation. I work in Rural Development Innovation Center in the Customer Experience Division, and we are happy to have you. For today's presentation, I am going to turn my camera off to help with bandwidth, but I just wanted to pop on real quick to put a face with the voice and welcome everyone to today's event. Today is the second in a series of 4 short customer experience workshops with the goal of helping all of us in rural development understand some fundamentals of what customer experience is and how we can work together to create great customer experience for all RD customers. These workshops are the result of collaboration between the RD Customer Experience team and the Office of External Affairs. OEA is a great partner when it comes to customer experience. For today, we're going to start off with a brief recap of workshop number 1. Next, we'll complete an exercise in identifying companies that have a strong brand recognition or positive customer experience presence. After that, we're going to take a deeper look into the characteristics that combine to create a positive customer experience. From there, we'll highlight ways in which RD Customer Experience team is supporting the agency in integrating customer experience in our everyday work. And then we will close out by reviewing any questions you may have or engaging in conversation about today's workshop. With that, we'll get started. So in the first workshop, we discussed customer experience versus customer service. We learned that customer service refers to a single interaction or a single service point, whereas customer experience is the sum of all interactions with our customers' experience as they utilize rural development's programs and services. Today, we're going to continue to build on what customer experience is. First, let's touch on a couple of things customer experience is not. It's not marketing or a PowerPoint. It's not simply attending, facilitating, or hosting a meeting. It is not simply communications or just digital service or customer service. It's just not that single touch point. Customer experience encompasses how a customer feels about the sum of their interactions with us, their customer journey. Customer experience is spread across many different touch points through rural development. It includes direct contact, which is usually initiated by the customer and occurs in the course of a service being provided. Example, a trip to our website to learn about RD programs, a phone call to ask about requirements or next steps in an application or award process. Customer experience also includes indirect contact. For example, word of mouth recommendations. Customer experience encompasses the thoughts and emotions induced through interactions with rural development's services and programs. It's people-focused and customer-centric. It's a brand. It creates a product or service that has a unique and immediately recognizable identity that distinguishes itself from others. It's the story of the entity that makes it stand out from others. So thinking of that and thinking about customer experience as a brand, take a few minutes to identify and think about organizations or companies that come to mind when you think of brands with a strong customer experience presence. Please type some into the chat. Amazon is fast and always has the largest variety and price. USDA is customer focused and excellent rapport and respect for its customers. NFL, American Express, State Farm, lots of great examples. Thank you so much for participating in that. Those are fantastic examples. While it may not have been in the words on the screen that you had just seen or in the chat, the feelings or emotions those brands induce tie into the 3 R's you see on this slide, the 3 R's of customer experience. Based on research by the University of Victoria's Gustafson School of Business, customers look for 3 service values in every interaction: be reliable, be responsive, and build relationships. Let's look at these a little closer. Reliability. What does it mean to be reliable? It means be accurate, handle mistakes, and keep the promises you make. Responsiveness. Be proactive, maintain a positive attitude and a willingness to help, and help in a way that reduces the effort a customer has to put in. And then finally, relationships. Be a good listener. Give the customer your full attention and make them feel important. Personalize their experience, ask questions about them, and make references to what you've learned about them with each interaction. In addition to knowing the 3 R's, it's important to know that they are prioritized by customers in a particular order. By a show of hands or by show of thumbs up, how many of you think relationships is valued the highest? We've got lots of votes for relationships so far. How about responsiveness? How many of you think that responsiveness is valued the highest by customers? Still seeing lots of thumbs up, seeing lots of raised hands. Finally, reliability. How many think reliability is top of the chain? Wow, look at all those thumbs. Excellent. Still seeing lots of hands being raised, lots of thumbs ups and hearts. Well, for those of you that said reliability, you've won bragging rights for the day. The 3 R's are listed in order of value on this slide: reliability, responsiveness, then relationships. While reliability is valued the highest, both responsiveness and relationships are extremely important in influencing a customer's experience. Think about it like this. Your car is shaking when you press the brakes. You decide it's time to get it looked at by your mechanic. You've taken your vehicle to this mechanic for 5 years. You have a positive, long-standing relationship with the business. You call the shop. The receptionist answers the call and tells you there is an appointment available next week, so you schedule it. Great. The mechanic shop is responsive to your needs. Next, you arrive at the shop for your appointment. You walk in, engage in friendly conversation with the front desk associate about your family, your job, your hobbies, any of those different things. You continue to visit while waiting for your ride. Fantastic. You've got an excellent relationship with the employees at the shop. So now they inspect the vehicle. And after inspecting it, the mechanic calls and explains your brake pads are worn and the air in your tires was unbalanced. So you tell them, yep, go ahead, replace those brakes. And the mechanic does that, airs up the tires. You pick up your vehicle later that day. On the drive home, your vehicle is still shaking when you press the brakes. You talk to a friend about it and decide to take it to the mechanic he or she uses to have it looked at again. You call the new mechanic, make an appointment, and drop it off. After completing their inspection, the new mechanic explains that the tires need to be aligned. You authorize the alignment and pick it up. On the drive home, there's no more shaking when pressing the brakes. So going forward, you decide that you're now going to take your vehicle to the new mechanic. Why the change? The original mechanic shop was very responsive to getting you scheduled. You had a fantastic long-standing relationship with the mechanic and the staff. Well, you switched because the information they were providing and the repairs they were completing weren't reliable. They weren't accurate. So to recap the 3 service values, the 3 R's that customers value: reliability, responsiveness, and relationship, in that order. Next, we're going to take a look at a brief case study from a company that creates the most magical experience on earth. As we were preparing for the workshop today, we held a brainstorm session and said, what organization is most like rural development and how could we create the same experience? And the answer we all came up with was Disney World. Totally similar. Well, maybe not quite that similar, but all joking aside, the lessons we can learn from Walt Disney's vision can be principles or values that can be carried across many different business models. Disney puts the customer experience at the center of all they do. Their first value is the immersive experience, their brand. They immerse every customer into experiencing Disney World. They have the Mickey Mouse logo on manhole covers. They have 15,000 speakers playing ambient music at a constant volume throughout the park. And a smellitizer machine pumps scents through hidden vents, leaving resorts smelling delicious. Main Street smells like fresh popcorn, and some rides and attractions have scents that add to their ambience, as well as to immerse you in the experience that is Disney World. The second one, they take out the trash. They remove the things that will hurt the experience. They don't want you to see the trash on the ground. They want you to have that good, clean experience. So trash cans are colorful and plentiful. They blend in with the aesthetic, and they're within 30 feet of each other. Why 30 feet? Research indicates that people will only walk 30 feet to throw something away. Have you gone to Disney World and stepped on gum? Chances are no. The trash cans are convenient for that reason. In addition, you've likely not smelled unpleasant garbage smells. There's an underground network of pipes that connects trash cans to empty them around every 20 minutes. Other trash cans and bathrooms have sensors that alert custodians when they need to be cleaned. Disney World takes every detail into account and removes things that will hurt the experience. In the middle there, involve every employee. Disney involves every employee. From training day number 1, new employees learn their primary goal, no matter their position, is to create happiness. Employees undergo 6 weeks of training before they see a guest. They receive training year-round. Their training focuses on an experience mentality rather than a task mentality. Employees aren't allowed to say, "I don't know." Instead, they must work to find a solution and are given the creativity to solve problems in the most magical way possible. Every employee knows their role and impact. The fourth thing, is take personalization to the next level. They value each customer and take the time to make their visit amazing. Employees treat every guest like a VIP. They personalize the experience to meet the customer's needs. Employees pay attention and ask guests about their visit in order to create a one-of-a-kind interaction. In order to understand their customers, they constantly capture feedback, like scanning guests' shoes to learn the most common paths between rides, where guests spend the most time, and other logistical information to create a more personalized experience to place those guests already spending time. Employees look to create emotional connections with customers that are genuine. They respond to the feedback that people give them because they go by the rule that people always remember the way you made them feel. And finally, they leverage unobtrusive technology to add to guest convenience and to the overall customer experience. They have free Wi-Fi in resorts, have created the My Disney Experience app, which provides real-time information about ride wait times, events, and hours, includes services like mobile food ordering. Restaurants use RFID technology to easily locate guests and bring the meal right to their table. They've also created the Magic Bands, which contain tickets, fast passes, payment info, and unlock room doors with a simple swipeable wristband. The app and the Magic Bands seamlessly integrate to enhance the customer experience further. So now let's take a look at how Disney's customer experience model meets the 3 service values of customer experience. Under reliability, they pay attention to the details. They're accurate. They remove the thing that will hurt the experience, i.e. they want to handle any mistakes or any unpleasant experiences. Employees focus on the experience mentality. They want to fulfill those core expectations. Employees are empowered to find creative solutions to problems, and they have a strong brand presence. There's consistency, there in serving the customer. For responsiveness, regular training and creativity to solve problems. Employees are allowed that ability. Employees are not allowed to say, I don't know. They must find a solution. Disney is constantly capturing feedback to adapt and be responsive to their customers' needs. They're integrating technology to add convenience and improve the experience. They don't want technology to take over. They just want it to enhance what they've already got. And finally, employees respond to the feedback the customer provides. And finally, under relationships, they treat every guest like a VIP. They create one-of-a-kind interactions for their guests, and they're genuine in their interactions. Again, people will always remember the way you made them feel. They take value in each customer, and they take the time to listen. What are some of the ways that you can or you do create Disney-like experiences for RD customers? Take a minute, think about what you do in your everyday interactions, and type it into the chat. Oh, and here's a great example. No one knows how much you know until no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Thank you for that. Be consistent and do what you say you will do. All excellent answers. Thank you so much for taking some time today to interact with us. So we've learned about the 3 R's of customer service, learned about an organization that puts the customer at the center of everything they do, and you've provided some excellent daily activities that you complete to bring the customer to the center of RD's process. This brings us to responsibility. Who is responsible for a customer's experience? The answer, all of us. Every RD employee is responsible for ensuring a positive customer experience. And while we're all responsible, the RD customer experience team is accountable for developing strategies, implementing some best practices, or helping to implement those, and capturing and measuring progress throughout rural development. What exactly does your rural development customer experience team do? We work in 3 key areas: measurement and CX strategies, facilitation and engagement, and human-centered design. With the measurement and CS strategies, we work on culture branding, like today's workshop. Have you taken a survey recently? We analyze the information into the customer journey. Did you know that USDA has a customer experience strategic plan? Well, we do, and it is our job to address any strategies that may apply to rural development. Rural development is designated in some areas as a high-impact service provider. There are quite a few mandated regulatory activities and reporting requirements that come with this HISP, high-impact service provider designation. With facilitation and engagement, we provide professional facilitation, and I'm guessing quite a few of you have been on a webinar or a training that we have produced. That is another way we engage with RD and with our customers our end customers. We provide that back of house experience and help with the producing of the webinar. And finally, we practice human-centered design, which is a method of process change where we engage the customer to help us discover and design what the process improvement or solution should be. This is customer-centric. We listen to the customer to see where they may have issues and pain points. You may have participated in a customer feedback survey or a listening session. Maybe it was a focus group. These are a couple of ways the CX team collects qualitative information that helps us understand the customer journey. And speaking of that, you have heard me reference the customer journey a couple of times. When we collect qualitative data, we map out the customer's journey to identify pain points along the way. We ask, is there a way to improve on the pain point? We also use this process to identify bright spots, then assess where we may be able to replicate those bright spots to replicate the experience. just who is part of the CX team. We're a small team of 6 that are passionate about ways in which we can keep RD customers at the center of sustainable process or product improvement, outreach and engagement efforts, and continuously collecting feedback to implement policies and strategies to help those we serve gain better access to our programs. And with that, we're going to open it up. Does anyone have any questions or comments from today's workshop?
Hi, Val. We do have a hand raised. Jacqueline Stanfield, if you'd like to unmute yourself and go ahead and speak your question.
No question.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that, Scott. And if anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to raise your hand or pop them in the chat or any comments. We will be offering 2 more short 1 hour or less workshops during fiscal year 24. We look forward to building our knowledge of customer experience with each workshop. We encourage you to think of ways in which you can continue to build on the outstanding ways to serve our customers to ensure a positive experience with every interaction and every touch point with rural development. So once again, I'll just leave it for a minute or 2 here. If anyone has any questions or any comments, please feel free to ask.
We got a question, Val, in the chat, if we have access to the slides. I know the recording will be available to all registrants in a couple of weeks, but if you want to touch on it.
Yep. We will have the recording available in a couple of weeks, and at this point we don't intend to share the slides, but we can go back and we can review that, and if we get quite a few requests, we can look at sharing them.
And she answered back saying that the video is perfect. So
excellent.
So we do have a hand raised, and then we have a couple questions in the chat. Which would you like to tackle first?
Go ahead to the hands.
All right. Charles Kimbrough, if you'd like to put yourself off mute, sir, and go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you so very much, and I appreciate this opportunity. I joined this session late because I had to get Zoom downloaded on my laptop, but I'm a loan technician with the USDA Rural Development in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this workshop was timely in the fact that just yesterday I received a call for single-family housing, and the young lady who was calling in was audibly frustrated at the fact that she couldn't get a live person for about a week or so, and calling into various numbers that were posted on, I guess, whatever website she was referencing. So I gave her my name and told her that she keep my number close by, and I would try to, help walk her through until she got to a point to where she could speak to somebody in person about her needing some loan balance information. But just wanted to pass that experience on to you as you work to develop ways and processes in which to improve customer service. Seems to be an ongoing issue with, I guess, the St. Louis office and not being able to reach anybody there. And when you try to reach somebody within the area offices, it's equally as difficult to reach a live person to provide customer service, to obtain customer service from, I should say.
Thank you for that. That is something that we will definitely keep in mind, and we can pass on that there is frustration, and we can always look to work together and try to improve that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelvin Abernathy, if you'd like to go ahead and speak your comment or your question.
Hey, thank you. I just want to address Mr. Kimbrough's question because I am an employee here in the St. Louis Servicing Center. In cases where a customer is contacting local office, field office, they have the ability, or the field office representative has an ability to contact the field assistance desk in terms of not being able to contact our customers. Let me first apologize for that. But I do have to say we receive a lot of calls regarding customers' accounts, customer questions, and if anything, I would ask the customers to continue to be patient because we do receive a lot of calls on a daily basis. Also, let me also kind of chime in on just also give my brief experience with working with the customer experience team. I am currently working with Lauren and Taylor on a customer service survey that we're going to be sending out to our customers with the February billing statement. So it's been a great experience with working with all the different entities to prepare this survey. And just as you said, Val, the CX team is very helpful from beginning to end to help you with any surveys or things you need them to assist you with.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I did see there was the question in the chat around measuring and accountability of this initiative. We will do some survey work right now with the CX in action, and customer experience is something that is definitely getting more looked at. And so one of the things we're hoping to do and planning to do with specifically our webinar or workshop series is a survey just to see has your knowledge increased around this, but it's not going to stop here. We'll continue to roll the thought or the conversation around customer experience into other things as we move forward too. And we understand you're all working very, very hard and you do a great job in the field already. And so we know there are certain pain points at certain spots. And so if there are ways we can try to help and ways we can try to improve and offer that guidance, we would try to help. But accountability, a lot of what we do is survey based at this point and just try to glean some data so that we can put some data behind what we're doing. Are there any more hands raised, Scott?
Not currently, Val.
Okay. We have a question around, are there examples of work or analysis that you've done for state offices? Might need you to be a little bit more specific on that. If you're talking like around certain programs or if you're just talking in general. Do you have good working relationships with programs? So many ideas to make experiences better, but not sure if this has to go through programs or if you may be able to assist. And so I will start with saying, you know, one of the things that we do is we will assist you and we will help to give you some tools and some things that you can do to get that feedback. And we can help you maybe with some listening sessions. But when we come in and we help, really it has to be supported by like a program or a state office, the program staff. And we really try to help you through that process. And so I just want to be clear that, you know, as the CX team, we don't come in and try to revamp what you're doing or tell you how to do things, but we are someplace you can access so that we can help you to try to improve that customer experience. And so if there's some things that, you know, you feel or you would like to see improved, it may be worth talking to if you're, you know, state office staff, working with those program staff individuals and having some of those conversations and getting some buy-in there and working together. And then it may be something we could help you with if you have certain things you'd like to do around that, you know, if surveys, if you'd like to work on improving a process or anything like that.
Thanks, Val. We do have a hand raised. Scott Soares, if you'd like to go ahead and unmute yourself, sir.
Thanks, Scott. I won't forget your name, Scott. And thanks. This this presentation. I'm most curious I'm coming back to the question that I put in the chat on work product, and I think you just got into some of those examples, but of surveys, work that you've done for states, as was mentioned by one of the previous speakers, I think it was Mr. Abernathy, on the servicing calls that we get around housing. Oftentimes state offices, we get a lot of the same issues that come up from time to time. And if there's work that you're doing for one state, it could very well be applicable to other states. So I'm most curious about any of that work product that's up on SharePoint or available for other state offices, kind of look at as a repository that we might be able to learn from that rather than asking questions that may already been answered.
Sure. At this time, I don't know that we have anything on a SharePoint. It is fairly new. I know we did do a pilot with Nebraska, but I did not work directly with that. So I apologize. I can't tell you exactly what we did, but they had some things, I believe, and some processes that they wanted to improve internally. And so we did do a little bit of work with them to help them get jump started on how they wanted to improve that. And I'll make a note of that. I mean, we can look at doing some of those things, and when we revamp and look at building onto our SharePoint site, we could look to maybe put some best practices into place or some thought processes and hold it out there.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Apparently there's no hands raised, Val. We did get a comment. Customer service is not only to external customers, but internal customers as well. So thank you for that, Jen.
Correct. Yes. All right. It doesn't look like we have any other questions that are specifically related here to today's workshop. So with that, I will give you about 20 minutes back to your day. And thank you so much for taking the time to attend. We appreciate it, and like that you are all open to learning a little bit more about customer experience. And just thank you to all of you for the great work you do in the field. You're the real superstars, and you're already doing a lot of this work. So thank you. And with that, have a great day.
Thanks, Val.